Greetings, dear suckers. My name's Joe Bob, and I'm very peeved. And welcome back to Scarlet Hollow. When we last left off, we had just awoken to find we had been dragged through a secret door into the forbidden wing of the house. A door we are apparently entirely incapable of just busting down, despite our incredible swollenness, alas, and the, 12 billion different ways you could probably get through that door, but, you know. And we discovered some interesting lore that was unfortunately obscured by those stupid fucking opossums that constantly getting in the way. And they weren't even helpful. Anyway. Oh, shit. I need to stop trying to use the continue function. It always sends me to the wrong save. You continue following the tracks left by what you assume to be your fellow humans. They take you up a flight of stairs, and you find yourself on the third floor of the estate for the first time. There are more footprints leading all the way down the hallway and into the farthest door. There are much fainter ones leading to the room in front of you, its doorway hidden behind a stack of boxes. The tracks are old enough to have accumulated some dust. They were also, notably, not made by boots. If you had to guess, you'd assume they were loafers, or some other kind of low heel. This space was clearly once a nursery, though no child has been in here for a long, long time. I hope not, anyway. No place for human habitation in general, frankly. Although I've lived in worse. The top shelf is occupied by antique picture books. Dick and Jane, books of nursery rhymes, ancient editions of Grimm's fairy tales. Dick and Jane, huh? That dates this. Because the Dick and Jane books are not ancient. They were first published in, the 1930s, I believe. While they stopped being sold around the 70s. Which means this place most likely stopped being in use sometime in those 40 or 50 years. The lower shelves are full of educational material, from children's encyclopedias to writing practice workbooks. Do you know that the Dick and Jane books have started entering public domain this year? From the sheer number of learning-oriented books on the shelf, you get the impression that the children who lived here were not supposed to be as interested in fun and fiction as they were in diction and spelling. You should have swapped those around. Fun and fiction, spelling and diction. That flows better. I guess the narrator isn't as interested in fun either. But that doesn't seem to have stopped them from making their own fun. You see quite a few books with children's art stuffed in between the pages, the corners peeking out, tiny scribbled hands waving at you from their yellowed paper. Pull out the children's art. You reach for a particularly doodled-on encyclopedia off the shelf, its pages overflowing. That reminds me of what I used to do in the margins of my textbooks, especially the handwriting ones. I had this whole weird-ass game that I'd play with myself, I guess. It was kind of derived from tic-tac-toe, but it went very much off the rails. and had like a whole like sci-fi plot line to it. And for some reason the X's were usually the protagonists. And then later on it expanded to up to 4 factions, because at one point the Triangles appeared, and they were this mysterious, highly technologically advanced ancient race that might have been robots that were attacking both sides because there was some ancient evil that they had locked away in this area, in this galaxy, and then eventually the O's discovered the location of this ancient prison, which led to the X's and Triangles putting together their grandest of fleets to protect it. And the O's got pretty fucking close, but were ultimately defeated in this incredibly costly battle on all sides. But they were able to get one of their capital ships into position to make a single shot on the prison, which created a single crack from which 3 giant squares escaped from. Yes, the squares are the 4th faction. And they had to hunt down these giant squares, which were spawning normal-sized squares constantly as their minions, and kill them before they could get set up and become an incredibly dangerous threat. And they succeeded with two of them, but one of them escaped, badly injured. And now they've got this entire square faction spawning from the crippled giant square. The Square Prime, I guess you could call it. And their whole deal is the twin goals of trying to find a way to heal the injuries the original square took so that it could be fully operational in order to free the rest of the squares. And yeah, there was this whole ridiculous 4-way war where everyone's killing everyone else. With different weapons and technologies and such. It was... But this is all a massive fucking tangent. Anyway. If Daddy plays with me and Maribel, if my family goes to the zoo, if Mommy and Grandpa took us to work, if me and Maribel and Mommy and Daddy and Grandpa have a picnic. All are signed with the carefully scrawled signature of Alexandra Scarlet. There's a strange, fantastical element to these pictures. Everyone is smiling and sitting together as any family would in a child's drawing. Standing together, actually. I don't think anyone's sitting. Closest they come to that is the dad leaning against a tree like a cool guy. And yet it feels like these are drawn in the same hopeful way a child would draw a unicorn. Expressions of some reality that Alexandra could only dream of. That's certainly bolstered by the if statements. There are less joyful illustrations as well. Daddy napping shows their father sleeping in a chair, a bottle of brown liquid conspicuously drawn on the table next to him. 2 girls and what you assume must be Alexandra's doll hovering in the doorway some distance away. Mommy going to work shows the girls crying in the upstairs window of a house as their mother walks away, an angry frown scrawled on her face. I have to assume she's walking away because it looks like she's facing towards them. You get the feeling these are more accurate depictions of the girls' lives. Also, I get the feeling that these girls really need to learn how to draw someone bending. The last picture you pull out gives you pause. There's a new figure here, seemingly drawn behind a barrier. The girls sit on the other side, smiles on their cartoon faces. The boy in the wall. Indeed. I'm sure you recall what that one's referring to. Read a few writing practice books. You leaf through a few of the practice workbooks, gently turning the near-crumbling pages. Reasons Mommy should take me and Maribel to the zoo. 1. We have been very good girls and have not cried for a whole week. 2. Maribel says elephants are so big and I would like to see one. 3. Just the one? 3. I think it would be very fun and Mommy would have a good time. These are also the work of Alexandra. You flip through the rest of the book, your eyes unfocused as the many practice sentences and letter copying pages flash by. But something near the back of the book gives you pause. In a section that starts with the prompt, "Today I," Alexandra continues with, "talked to the boy in the wall." There he is again. This last prompt lingers with you. If all of these practice books are the same, you wonder what else you'll manage to find under "Today I." I really need to be book smart to point that out? Sure, okay. You grab the next copy, opening it to the first practice writing page. "Today I told the boy in the wall about my family. Then the boy in the wall said he is happy he has a kid to talk to. I am also glad because Maribel is mean sometimes and tells me what to do. He is really nice, and I hope he can come out of the wall to play with us soon. I hope you can learn to spell soon." "Today I told the boy in the wall that I am sad. He was really nice and told me he knows how to make Mommy be nicer to me. He said Mommy tucks him in every night and reads him stories and is never mean. And that if I was in the wall, Mommy would also be nice to me. He said there can only be one kid in the wall, so he will have to switch places with me. But Mommy will be nice to me then, so it is okay." Well, we're dealing with kids here, not masters of subtlety and manipulation. I guess we can cut them some slack there. "Today I ate dinner with Mommy. She said she made me special dinner, and she sat with me the whole time, and I was a good girl and ate it all. Mommy is proud of me. It was a good day, and I am happy." The rest of the book is blank. You're done here. Return to the hall. You make your way back to the hallway. Move the boxes from in front of the nearest door. The boxes slide easily out of the way. It's almost like they were placed there to make the room less conspicuous, rather than as any kind of actual barrier. You push past them into the room beyond. The room is coldly empty. The large antique bed is made, its sheets ancient and dusty, but still somehow giving off the feeling of tidiness. There's the doll, I suppose. Judging by the painting, it's seen better days. Even with the cobwebs stretched between each corner of its four-poster frame. You make your way to the closet. It seems this room's occupant kept things neat and orderly, or as neat and orderly as they could, considering the decaying state of the place. You can't help but notice that these dresses look strikingly like the style Tabitha wears. You can imagine Pearl Ann sifting through old trunks of clothes, recycling moth-eaten vintage dresses for her daughter in place of buying anything new. The only thing here besides her clothes and shoes is a box shoved off to one side. You pick it up. Child-sized overalls, striped shirts, a small pair of trousers with suspenders still attached. One of those little sailor suits boys from the 50s were always wearing. The 50s, yes, that adds up. When you pull out the last shirt, a note is revealed, tucked away in the bottom of the box in a protective plastic sleeve. It's scrawled in almost illegible handwriting, written in some thick, brown, watery ink that's cracked with age. Thick, brown, watery ink. That's suggestive. If you're unaware, as some hack writers and game developers apparently are, the rich red color of fresh blood does not hold up to age very well. Rather quickly, in fact, it tends to turn a dull, rusty brown, or sometimes even black, as it dries out and corrodes. Concerning. Mommy, I am in here too, and I love you. Perfectly spelled this time. I guess there's not much to misspell here. Your hands tremble, the note somehow making the tips of your fingers feel dirty, even as it sits behind a layer of plastic. You drop it back into the box, once again covering it with the clothes, shoving it back into the recesses of this forgotten closet, where it belongs. Well, that certainly raises more questions than it answers. Let's search the desk. You step towards the desk, its drawers practically overflowing with stationery. I should hope it's stationary. I'd hate to see it moving. As you sift through paper, it quickly becomes clear to you whose room this is. There are stacks of bills in Edwardines' name, filling nearly every drawer. And even once you manage to get past the layers of envelopes and trifold paper, you hit a permafrost of receipts. It seems she was doing her best to be meticulous and hold on to any scrap of paper that might possibly be important. Fair enough. But when you reach the bottom drawers, you find something entirely different. Greeting cards, letters, small wrapped packages. Some opened, some sealed, some crumpled into messy balls. You open one of the cards. Both pages are taken up by a handwritten note. Tabby, hope you're doing well. Not a day goes by that I don't miss you. Hope Pearl Ann treats you to your best Christmas yet. I'm not sure what sort of doodads you're into these days, so I sent a little something that made me think of you. Tabby? I made sure they were the best shells of the bunch. Not sure how rare any of them are, but they're awful pretty, and they still got that beach smell. And make sure you put your ear up to them, too. It doesn't compare to the real thing, but it comes close enough. And in case you think that makes me a cheapskate, I made sure to send along a little cash too, so you can get yourself something a little nicer than glorified beach trash. Make sure you get Pearl Ann to take you to the nice toy store, because that's where I'd take you if I was there. If you get the time, I'd love to hear from you. I miss you so much, Tabby, and I'm always thinking of you. You can come out and visit me anytime. I know you've always wanted to see what it's like out east. I've made sure to write out my address on the back of this card, just in case you didn't know how to get a hold of me. Been missing you, my incredible, wonderful, amazing daughter. All my love, Dad. You pull out another, from closer to the top of the pile. Happy birthday, Tabby! It's me again, your old dad. So, the big 2-0. I can't believe my daughter is such an adult. In my mind, you're still that bouncy little kid doing cartwheels on the front lawn, telling me what various sounds animals make like you're the professor of animal noises. I have no idea if you read these, but I'll keep writing them, even if sometimes it feels like I'm writing them to a ghost. I mean, we haven't spoken in almost 15 years. You're a whole human being now, and I have no idea what you're like. Yeah, I know that feeling. I like to think we'd get along, though. As always, my address is on the back. I hope you'll decide to come visit me one of these days. I've got a guest room all set up, just in case. It's always ready for you, kid. I love you, and I always will, no matter who you turn out to be. Love, Dad. There are years and years of these. The bottom drawer is almost entirely unopened envelopes, dated from when Tabitha would have been just a kid. All from him. You pocket a few of the cards. Well, there's an interesting twist. Stashing birthday envelopes in a forgotten corner of the Forbidden Wing. A corner which has all these boxes piled up in front of it to make it less conspicuous. I suppose Tabby could have hidden them here to keep them from Pearl Ann, but the other way around seems more likely. But why? And if it was Pearl Ann, why hide them instead of destroying them? Something to bring up next time we see Tabby, certainly. Other than that, I'm not sure. Well, either way, we're done here. Her ladyship's chambers. Explore Edwardine's bedroom. Just got that achievement. Finished with the tucked away room, you return to the hallway. A full 31% of people got that achievement. Not exactly an uncommon one. Alright then. The window then. Let's see if we can jump out. You carefully approach the window at the far end of the hall. Although if we were going to do that, it would have been smarter to do so on the second floor. Or, was that the second floor, or was it the first? Whatever. That sure is a cliff. There is nothing below the window but the tops of distant trees, the ground having crumbled away. The only thing stopping you from plummeting to your death is the straining foundation that still somehow holds this place together. For now. At least for now. Quite. Let's follow the trail then. You continue following the trail of footprints, approaching the farthest room down the hall. The door was clearly meant to be hidden, but it's been left open. Someone left it open for you. Someone left it open for you. Ah, fun. The room is starkly empty, save for a rug and a few candelabras, and the satanic ritual circle poking out from beneath it or whatever. The lack of dusty old boxes and rotting antiques mark it as distinct from the rest of the cluttered, forgotten spaces you've explored. It pains you to stand in this space. Emotions hang over you, strong, oppressive, and overwhelming thoughts that threaten to fill your lungs. You don't feel death here. You feel something worse. A deeper loss. One that's left a wound that has refused to scar. I disagree about that concept, but sure. You can't help but fixate on the carpet in the center of the room. The corner is rumpled, as if it had recently been moved, and then you're drawn to the curtains on the far side of the room. The small section of tile peeking out from beneath the heavy Chrismon velvet. Chrismon! Chrismon! God! And we were building up such an atmosphere here. Fucking Chrismon is out of place against the hardwood floor. A curious and conspicuous detail. Huh. Oh, you're right. Wow. I don't think I would have even spotted that. Good eye. Examine the curtain. You cross the room and pull back the curtain. Behind it is what almost looks like a shower, but in place of a shower head is a meat hook, dangling from the end of a long, sturdy chain. Oh, that's not questionable in the slightest. As your eyes travel down the wall to the drain on the floor, you can just make out the rusty stains of what looks like long, dried blood caked in between the tiles. There's been an effort to clean it up, but just enough was missed that it doesn't escape your attention. Quite. It reminds you of something you might see in an abattoir. Or a horror movie. Okay. Check out the carpet then. You pull the carpet up, exposing the bare floor and revealing what lies beneath. An ornate ring of sigils has been carved into the floor, 5 along the edges, with a 6th in the center. Do those... Hold on, let me check the, screen... Let me check my screenshots a second. Screenshots a second. Okay, no. Those symbols do not correspond to the carvings. Not precisely, certainly. The circle emits a now uncomfortably familiar feeling. You can feel your gaze forced to crawl over every intricate detail of the carving in front of you. The serpents wrapped around the staff give you flashes of the room beyond the morgue, and the darkness that swept through the house once it had been uncovered. Does it? The fist and chain makes you feel like you're back in the claustrophobic confines of the mines, surrounded by the angry hammering of its memories. Fist and chain? I can't even see... I can't even tell which one that's referring to. This one, I guess? That looks like a chain. But neither of them look at all like the carvings. The horns have the same nightmarish, dreamy feeling of the world constructed by the furious ghost of Charles Shaw Jr. Well, that I guess makes sense because of the goat. What the fuck even are these? I can't even tell what they're supposed to be depicting. In the slightest. The others are new to you. The feelings they emit are less intense, giving only vague impressions of what they might be tied to. I guess the one in the center could be the one that I couldn't actually see because it was blocked by the opossum, the throne one. Golden fields, the muling of fresh souls, just slithering out from the womb and desperate to be fed. Another that rings like bells in your mind, calling you not towards it, but away from it, pushing you from its threshold and into the darkness. But the central symbol is strongest of all. It echoes out across the room, a vast ego proclaiming its dominance. Yeah, throne, I would imagine. Underlined twice, even. And circled 3 times. This is all further confirmation of what the map in Enoch's study suggested. I guess. But I'm not even entirely certain what it's suggesting. Beyond the obvious. I guess we'll just move on from this then. You continue forwards towards the door on the far side of the room. You exit into a short hallway. There are stairs here, leading back down to the lower floors. But there is also another door. It's hanging ajar, the many locks and deadbolts along its edge glimmering in the weak morning light. The door frame itself is gouged and splintered, evidence that some desperate creature tried to save itself from the room beyond, time and time again. You've been here before, haven't you? Quite so. I know those locks. In Charlie's memories. Enter, then. You step forward. This was a prison cell. Oh, wait a minute. That's the doll from the painting. Not the one I saw earlier. Are those letters? Oh, I think that's an A. A C, E maybe? Jeez, this is a proper medieval one at that. Look, it even had a chamber pot. What is that? Everything about this place reeks of neglected humanity. The walls are covered in scratches, legible words mixed in with the nonsense of desperate clawing. The one window, set high in the far wall, is fitted with a thick pane of glass, as if the iron bars just beyond it wouldn't be enough to hold the imprisoned. You can't help but notice that the doll from your closet sits watching you from the bed, one eyelid drooping. It adds an extra layer of menace to the already deeply unsettling room. Yeah, maybe make certain that the door is kept ajar. And no one can lock me in here. Property of Alexandra. The pain radiating from these walls howls through your mind. Whatever lived here lived in constant torment. No shit. Nice indeed. But the etchings on the walls are more than just evidence of the suffering that went on here. Whatever was trapped in these walls was trying to send a message. To you, or to anyone who might happen across it. Your eyes are drawn to the massive, almost letters, dug as deep into the brick as this cell's prisoner could manage, highlighted with whatever pigments were available. It almost looks like a word, though none of the lines meet up, causing you to constantly doubt whether they're letters at all, or just lines that fool the eye into imagining shapes that aren't there. No, I'm pretty certain those are letters. Especially the first and last. The rest, I'm uncertain of. Your stomach clenches with nausea as you run your eyes along the deep furrows in the wall. But whatever was in here wanted these words to be known. So you do your best to store them away, trying to burn the image of them into your mind, carved deep into the wall, bloody against the filthy brick. And then, one final detail grabs you. A metallic glint from the filthy, bare mattress. A doorknob. Ah. This is what you've been looking for. Was it left here for you? To ensure I'd find this place? Or to lure me in here to trap me? I swear, if the next thing that happens is I go traipsing in here completely carelessly and get trapped here by some arsewipe because I was too stupid to see the obvious potential trap. Take the handle. As you take it, a sound wraps around you. Music. The tinkling of piano keys, played by a clumsy hand. They echo up a narrow staircase at the end of the hall. We have our missing door handle. We can return to the rest of the house and believe whatever we want to believe. Or we could follow the music, stay in Wonderland, and see how deep the rabbit hole goes. A good question. For next time. Because this seems as good a cliffhanger as any to leave off on. We've certainly seen enough already to get our noggin jogging, although all of it seems to just be raising more questions rather than any actual answers. Perhaps that will change next time. But until then, I have been Joe Bob, and I'm very peeved. And remember, dislike the video, unsubscribe if you're for some reason subscribed, and leave a nasty comment in the comment section down below. Fuck you all so much for watching, and so long, suckers.
You're gonna be okay, kid.